sexual violence is like endemic in our society, you know, 1 to 3 to 1 in 5 women, depending on the stats, and 1 to 8 to 1 in 10 men have been victimized sexually in their lifetime. And it doesn't have to be that way. You know, we live in this super pornified culture. You know, if you look at, you know, the infamous Roastbusters case, what those young boys are doing is basically replicating the sort of online gonzo style pornography that we see online. So we're really like hypersexualizing young kids with something that's not in fact reality. You know, like if you look at a lot of online pornography, which kids are now accessing like on their smartphones and sending around schools, it sort of isn't about sex so much, but more about power dynamics. Like if you listen to the verbal abuse and the slapping and the spitting, and there's no talk about consent and do you like this and do I like that, and it takes all the human warmth out of what sex and sexuality can be, or perhaps should be. You get kids pressuring their girlfriend or their boyfriend perhaps into, you know, send me a nude or send me this or send me that, and then they don't respect that. They don't respect the privacy of someone's body, and that by being sexually comfortable with yourself doesn't mean that you're public property. And yet, you know, images get uploaded and, you know, sent around the world sometimes, and it can't be taken away, you know, like once it's on the internet, it's there forever. Just because everyone else is doing it doesn't mean that it's the right way to do things, you know, like I think people often act out in ways because they think it's cool or because their friends are doing it. But in fact, what's really cool is standing up for what I think deep down a lot of people know is right, you know. I think a lot of people do have a conscience, but they can stifle that in order to fit in. And that's a real shame, because when you're, you know, sharing nudes of a girl that you might even care about emotionally, you're really disrespecting her and you're sort of disrespecting yourself. And I really would encourage you to be empathetic. Like, how would you feel if you were on the internet and people were laughing at you and pointing about you? Or how would you feel if it was someone you cared about? And lastly, like, there's way more to sex than, you know, just the physical part of it, you know, like a really great sexual relationship is about feeling and being vulnerable with someone. It's not just about like hot, you know, it's not just about the hot stuff. So we live in like this culture where we just laugh and joke about things which are actually really problematic. Like if you're out in the club and you grab a girl's ass, that's not okay. Or if your friends do it and you don't say anything about it, that's not okay. And if, you know, your friends are sending you really heavy pornography and people are slapping each other and choking other people, that's not okay either. And all of that stuff creates a culture where rape and sexual assault's all right. And if you really don't want to live in a world like that, you should stand up and say something about it and be brave and be the black sheep and be the guy who goes against the grain, because that's how culture changes.